In a move that everybody could probably feel in NBA circles was inevitable, we found out this week that the Chicago Bulls relieved Fred Hoiberg of his head coaching duties. So if you hated Fred Hoiberg and you wanted him gone, you thought it was a mistake to ever hire him to begin with, whatever the case might be, you got your wish. Goodbye, sayonara, see ya, don't want to be ya. Thanks a lot, Mayor. Now go back to Ames where you belong type of deal. Whoopity skip. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe Hoiberg wasn't very good as a coach, and maybe he wasn't getting very much out of this team. And maybe it was just a matter of this was eventually going to happen anyways, so why delay the inevitable? Get it done. You've seen enough. I don't know that I fully disagree with that sentiment. But that said, though, how much can you really blame Fred Hoiberg, the head coach, in this particular situation? Looking at the Chicago Bulls roster, we all knew going into this year, they were not very good. You re-signed Zach LaVine for way much over way too many, so that way he would do exactly what you would predict he would do. Put up a bunch of big-time numbers on a garbage-ass team that loses a bunch of games. So how much do those numbers really matter? You don't have Markkanen. You don't have Chris Dunn. You barely have Portis. You don't have Denzel Valentine. So some of the key players you were counting on, if you had any delusions of being like an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference, quickly went by the wayside as several foundation type of pieces for you in your current state aren't available or barely available at all. And let's be realistic, even if those guys were in the fold, just what exactly would be your standard of success here? 35 wins? I mean, how good did you think this Bulls team was really going to be? I mean, if you take an honest look at the Bulls right now in terms of their roster, what they have, the pieces that they have, their style of play, you could bring in a Greg Popovich and they probably don't have more than 10 wins. I mean, let's be real. You could bring in Steve Kerr, any other number of guys. How many more wins are these guys really going to have running this Chicago Bulls team? So in some ways, where I don't think Hoiberg was great, I do think ultimately Fred Hoiberg got screwed here. He absolutely did. There's no question. And in the NBA, this happens all the time. But my bigger question is, you're firing head Fred Hoiberg. At what point in time do we start to say GARPAX should be fired? Both of them. I know Bulls fans have been pining for this as a long time, as have I. But Jesus Christ, how many head coach hires do you get before you say enough is enough, Reinsdorf? How many more decisions do you have to have that are wrong? How many more trades do you have to have that don't work out? How many more player signings do you have to have that are underwhelming and lackluster? How many more seasons of perpetual rebuild do you fucking need? You just couldn't wait to sign with the Penguin, Jerry Krause in '98, breaking up the fucking dynasty. Well, ding dong, dumb dick, the organization's been in a perpetual state of rebuild over the past 2+ decades now, with no end in sight, with just the occasional blip of a little bit of success, but at no point in time, and don't get this mistaken, Bulls fans, don't delude yourself here. At no point in time was this team ever, since '98, ever been a true championship contender. You could take the early 2010s and pound them up your ass because you're living a lie, period. And you look at the reality of the state of the team, the talent, the lack of talent, the organization. Who the hell's responsible for that? That's not the head coach. That's not Thibodeau. That's not Fred Hoiberg. That's freaking Gar Forman and John Paxson. Why the hell are they still employed? Why the hell do they get to make yet another head coach decision? Why in the hell are they still allowed to be in charge of this organization anymore going forward? And look, I find myself very conflicted here because Paxson, frankly, was a sports hero of mine as a kid. You talk about those Bulls teams in the early 90s. Sure, you had Jordan, you had Pippen, you had Horace Grant. But damn it all, Paxson was Big Shot John. The Bulls don't have any of those 3 rings without John Paxson, period. When you look at that first three-peat team, Paxson hit big shot after big shot. talking about the 10 points in the fourth quarter in Game 5 against the Lakers in 91, the big shots he hit in 92 against the Blazers when they won in 6, not to mention the game-winning shot he hit in Game 6 in the 93 finals in Phoenix. So on the one hand, I've got all these great warm memories of John Paxson, the player, but now I look at John Paxson, the bald executive, and I'm like, why the hell does he still have a freaking job? I have absolutely zero faith and confidence that this guy's going to turn it around. And even if the Bulls are successful in their tank, which is clearly what they are this year in tank mode, which is what they need to be, again, imagine that. Even if they got to the point where they're taking a Zion Williamson or RJ Barrett or something, I almost feel like the suck of Foreman and Paxson would extend to those guys, and they'd have injury problems in the early portion of their career. But beyond that, what faith do you have that these guys really running the show know what the hell they're doing? What makes you think that they can get this team out of a state of perpetual rebuild? What makes you think that these guys deserve to make another head coaching hire? Like now they just had a hard-on and we're going to promote Jim Boylan and make him the permanent guy? So when you're eventually firing him after the season or after next season, then what the hell do? You get yet another head coach to hire to ultimately fire? Rebuilding is one thing. Process this, process that. This has been a 2-decade-long plus process. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Rodman, Horace Grant, whichever version of the Bulls you want to go with. They're not walking through the door anymore as active players. It's been a long damn time. The last time the Bulls were championship contenders, I was in freaking high school. Tired of it. It's really hard to give a crap about a Bulls team that clearly, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't give a crap about themselves. And as long as Reinsdorf allows Gar Forman and John Paxson to continue to run this organization on the fucking ground, a lot of other Bulls fans are going to be right along with me and not give a crap about an organization that doesn't give a crap about itself.